Hey, let me tell you a secret. You're not waiting on a call. You've already received one. Most people just don't recognize it. In the moments in life where you've been the most confused, have you ever felt like you're waiting on someone to just pick up the phone and just like call you and just say, "Hey, Cam, hey, here's what you're supposed to be doing, man." I know for me, like I've definitely felt that way more times than I can even count, especially within the last 3 years of my life when my identity was so wrapped up in martial arts. And look, I'm not bad mouthing it. I love martial arts. I love what it does for children. I love what it does for adults. I love what it did for me and is still continuing to do for me. I'm actually getting ready for my 5th degree black belt test right now. I'm excited and nervous, all of the above, but my identity was so wrapped up in that when I left the organization that I was a part of, a few years ago, I literally felt like I went through an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. Like I felt like I literally lost myself. I wasn't Karate Cam anymore. I didn't know. And so I had to go through this time of just confusion and trying to rediscover who I am and what I was meant to be and who I was meant to be. And it's hard. I really wish somebody would just pick up the phone and said, "Hey, here's what you're supposed to be doing." But the hard part is that's coming from someone else and that's not coming from you. You see, only you can discover who you are meant to be and what your calling in life is. And again, you probably already have that calling. You just don't realize it. You don't recognize it. And so what I want to talk about today is how do we recognize what that calling is for our life? How do we find it? How do we pinpoint it? How do we pull it up on Google Maps and go, boom, that's where it is. So I want to go through a few steps of how you can do that and just kind of talk you through this the same way that I've had to do it for myself. I just wrote a book and I talk about this a lot, but this is a thing that I've had on my heart for a while and I've always felt like I was called to write a book. I don't know why. As a kid, I never really felt that. It wasn't until a few years ago that I had that first hit of like, man, Cameron, you should write a book. Why not? And I dismissed it. Oh no, that's not for me. No, nobody would ever read a book of mine. Nah, heck no. Of course not. Same thing like doing a podcast. Nobody would ever listen to your podcast. Why would you do that, right? That little naysayer starts to creep in back there. But that's exactly what happened is I got that calling a few years ago and I felt it and it was strong too. And it excited me for a little bit, but then as soon as I let the doubt creep in, I decided to dismiss it and just go on about what I was doing. And then I just noticed it kept coming back more and more and more. This is why writing your goals down is so powerful because when you're writing it pen to paper, it makes it real. But when you're just writing it down, you're not thinking, just go, 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 writing it down. You'll start to see certain things keep coming back over and over and over again. And so for me, that was one of those things. It's like that whole book idea just kept coming back, and I would get excited. I would start the process, and I'd stop. Get excited, start the process, and I'd stop. I'd stay in that trend over and over again. But I kept feeling like, man, I'm called to do this. Like I need to do this. I need to just make it happen. And it wasn't until I did this, my most recent book, which is also my first book, Mission Driven. Um, I felt the calling again. I felt that push, that nudge again that Cameron, you should do this. You have to do this. Why are you not doing this? And it kept coming back over and over and over again. And it hit me harder every single time. So I just drew that line in the sand. I said, okay, you know what? This time I'm going to do it. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to give myself a month. If I don't get this book out in a month, I fail. And I don't like failing. So that's what I did. In 1 month, I wrote the entire book. Now, look, it's not a long book. It's only like 82, 83 pages. Okay. It's not long. Paperback book, self published through Amazon. Like, it's nothing fancy, but I did it. I got it out there. And now I feel more fulfilled from that. Now I feel motivated by it. Like, okay, boom, I did it. I put the clock on myself. I got it done. It's out there. I've always said I wanted to do it. And now I can actually say to the world, I'm a published author. That's a good feeling, even just to say on this, like, I like it. I'm a published author, baby. All right. It's cool. But it took that consistency of that calling showing up over and over and over again and convicting me over and over and over again before I finally took the action to make it happen and just realized, like, hey, this is what I'm meant to do. I need to do it. You see, here's how you're going to see your calling come through. It's going to come through a mix of consistency and conviction. What are those things that you notice that keep coming back over and over and over again. And every time it comes back, it's like it hits you just a little bit harder. Hey, here's what you should be doing. Hey, here's what your calling is. Hey, here's what you're best at. Hey, here's where your mission is. Hey, here's where your purpose is. Hey, here's what you were designed for. And it just hits you over and over and over again through different sources, through social media, through the people that are closest to you, through random strangers on the street. Like, where do you feel like that calling is coming from consistently over and over and over again, where it feels like each time it convicts you? And when I'm talking about conviction, like that's that deep rooted feeling that you get that you're like, man, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Hey, here's what I should be listening to and the action I should be taking as a result of it. Me and my wife, when we decided that we were going to get married in North Augusta, South Carolina, like that's what happened to us. Is I'd already engaged. We were already engaged together to get married. We were going to have our wedding in November, and then we got a call that we needed to move to Atlanta, run some martial arts schools there. And this was August when we got that call. It was like August 1st, 2nd, something like that. And the catch was we had to move at the end of the month. Our wedding was planned in November, for November, to be in North Augusta, but now we're getting a call that we're gonna have to move to Atlanta. And we both were sitting in church one day and just kind of listening to the message. We didn't really talk about how it impacted both of us, what that message was, but we both felt convicted. We got this feeling deep inside of us saying, hey, we need to get married now. Like, we need to do it sooner rather than later. Before we go start this new chapter in Atlanta, we need to go ahead and get married now. And start that fresh new journey together. We felt this separately while sitting together, but we didn't talk about it. And later that day, I called her and I was like, hey, babe, listen, I just got this feeling that, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And she said, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you said that, because I got the exact same feeling. Sitting in that moment, we both felt that conviction that, hey, this is what we need to do. Hey, here's what we're being called to do. We both felt it. Now imagine if we had ignored it. Man, it'd probably be a completely different story. But because we both felt it, we communicated with each other on it, and then we took action on it. Now it's a story that we have for years to come. And that's a whole nother story about how that wedding came together. Literally, an entire wedding put together in like 2 weeks. That was interesting, but it worked. It was beautiful. It was perfect. I wouldn't trade it for any other experience in the world. Like it was the type of wedding that was meant for us. Like it was great. It was perfect. Wouldn't change anything about it, except maybe the weather that day was hot and wearing a suit outside in the South by the river in the humidity in the summer. It's hot. But anyway, back to the topic. Your calling is going to come through consistency and conviction. So what's that thing that keeps showing up over and over and you feel like, man, this is what I'm being called to do? You see, it's a pattern, and it's not always a voice. It's not always going to be someone telling you what it should be. It's not going to always be as simple as someone picking up the phone and just saying, hey, here's what it is. Even in the way that, as Christians, we experience the voice of God coming into our lives, and, being able to listen to that and having the discernment to be able to understand that and follow that advice or follow that calling that we have on our life. It's not always going to come through just a clear voice. It might come through the signs and the patterns that are around us. And that's okay, but we have to be open to recognizing it. That's why we need to have our eyes open and experience and be aware of the world that's around us, and be aware of the signs and the feelings and the emotions and the patterns and the people and the things that are coming into our life, and how it's going to shape our experience for us to be able to continue to build the life that we were called to live. And see, that clarity is also going to come through motion. We used to use the saying all the time that movement creates energy, right? And it's so true. Like, think about it. Whenever I go outside for a run or I go do a workout, even though I may not have wanted to do it, once I do it, I come out feeling better. Like, name one workout that you went into and came out of where you didn't feel at least happy that you did it. Oh man, I should have stayed at home in bed instead of going to walk on the treadmill. Oh man, I should have stayed on my couch binging Netflix all day instead of going to lift those weights. Like, no, you're probably going to have that feeling prior to it. Oh man, it'd be so much better to just stay here than go to the gym. I really don't want to do it. But then once you do it, you come out feeling more alive. You come out feeling more confident, more proud of yourself, because you knew you didn't want to and you did it anyway, right? It creates energy for you. But that clarity comes through motion. So that motion, that movement also creates clarity. Now, not always in the same way of physical exercise, but it can also be motion of just taking steps to continue to move yourself forward. You see, when we're stagnant and we feel stuck, that's when we feel confused. That's when we feel lost. That's when we feel like we're sinking. We can't see where the end is. We don't know what that clear picture is. But when you keep taking steps towards what you believe that calling is, when you do start writing the pages of that book, you can start seeing it come to life. When you start showing up at 100% of what you can give for the day at that job, and you can see the results starting to happen and that job promotion on the way. When you're making those phone calls, those sales calls to prospects, and out of the 200 calls you make, you get 5 or 10 people that actually give you a yes, and you're able to move the needle forward. When you feel like you're running into a brick wall over and over and over again with your employees and their training and their commitment to the company, but you keep pushing away at it, you keep attacking it, you keep going at it, and you're starting to see little mini breakthroughs here and there to actually create the overall picture of what you built the company to be in the first place. You see, it's through that consistency and through that motion, the same way the calling comes to us through the consistency. It's the consistency in motion that's going to create the clarity that you need. But it doesn't happen if you quit. It doesn't happen if you give up. It doesn't happen if you stop. It's going to take that consistent force, right? The stream meets the rock over and over again, constantly flowing over it to the point where it eventually weathers it down. That's what you need to be. You've got to be that stream continuously flowing, continuously going after what it is you were meant for, what you were called for, putting in the action, one foot in front of the other, day after day after day, until you start seeing this picture start to clear up. I'll say, even for me right now, I'm not completely clear on what the picture is, even for myself in my own life, but I'm going to keep showing up. That's the first sign of success, is just showing up. So I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do the reps. I'm going to stay as consistent as I possibly can, because I know I'm human and I know myself. I allow myself to drop the ball. That's why I need people in my life that can hold me accountable to what I said I want to do. That's why it's so important to share that with others. And I'm going to keep showing up over and over and over again until that picture gets more and more clear. And then you're going to look back one day and go, man, how did I get here? And it's going to be one of the best feelings ever, but it's because you knew that you stayed consistent and you stayed true to the calling that you have on your life. So I have a challenge for you. I want you to list the things in life that keep showing up. List those things that are consistent, that you're noticing that trend over and over and over and over again. What is it? Like, what is it for you? What's that clear picture that's starting to be painted for what your mission is, for what you feel like your purpose and what your calling is? I want you to actually list that out. Keep track of it, document it. Notice when it shows back up again and again. It's like an ad, right? Think about how many ads you see over and over again. You click that one link, and next thing you know, for the next 30 days, you're seeing nothing but that ad over and over and over and over again until you finally buy it. It's the same thing for you, right? You got that seed planted of what that calling is in your life, and now you're seeing that ad scroll by you over and over and over again on social media. The people around you are talking about it. The people you don't know are talking to you about it. As you're driving down the highway, you're seeing the billboards and the signs and the lights. It keeps showing up over and over and over again. But the question is, are you going to continue to ignore it, or are you going to lean into it? Are you finally going to stop ignoring the signs and start trusting in the calling that you have on your life? That's what I hope you do. Till next time, guys, stay mission driven.